It's time for another Tackle HD Fishing Report. Today we check in with Jack Uxa at Lake of the Ozarks.
What's up, everybody? It's Jack Uxa here with your Lake of the Ozarks Fishing Report. I've been on the water a bunch lately. Just fished a tournament this past Saturday. Got lucky with that one. Got a win. It was a bass fishing tournament. I'm primarily going to be talking about crappie today, but I'll also touch on bass here at the end because the bass fishing has not been too bad. And the crappie fishing has been great too. We've had a ton of people coming down here and fishing for crappie over the last few weeks. Man, yesterday it was Sunday. It was a nice day. Couldn't hardly get a parking spot at the boat ramps anymore. It was already that busy. It's not even March yet. It's still February, early February. Water temperature, depending on what part of the lake you're on, down by Bagnell Dam, it's like 39 degrees. And, you know, that's like the warmest area. That's where a lot of the people were fishing. It's kind of like, you know, the Gravois area, Shawnee Bend, Toll Bridge, the dam. That's where the little bit warmer water is. That's where a lot of people have been fishing. That's really probably the best part of the lake. But if you go up towards like Tantera, Lynn Creek, Lower Niangua, Hurricane Deck, all that kind of stuff, more about 37 degrees. So it's a little bit cooler. There was quite a bit of ice on the lake. I shouldn't say quite a bit of ice. A lot of the coves in that part of the lake last week had ice in the back part of it, okay? The shallow water areas, it did limit you on some of the areas that you were fishing. But since then, we've had another warming trend, and the ice is pretty much all gone, but the water temperature really didn't warm up much. Generally speaking, I look for the water level to fall a lot over the next few weeks. You know, it's February. They're supposed to draw it down. They've been talking about it for months. They don't really draw it down too much until we get to about this time of year anymore, it seems like. You know, a lot of people start thinking, okay, well, these fish are going to be thinking about spawning here soon, and kind of, yeah, but we got a lot of things to happen before they start thinking about that. Right now, the water level is about normal. It's not quite 659, you know, but it's just a little bit below that. They are increasing a lot of the flow through the system. Truman Lake has been dumping some water. Lake of the Ozarks has been dumping some water. Our water levels haven't really dropped much, but over the next few weeks, expect them to drop quite a bit. I've seen them drop it 4 feet in 4 days before. They usually drop it when we have a big cold spell. And some reason they you know, can make it kind of tough, and particularly really hurt some of the people that have docks in the back of the coves. A lot of the boat ramps that we've been using, can't use them anymore. I mean, there's 2 boat ramps I use a lot. I won't be able to use them when they lower the lake level like that. And, you know, just what it is, it's they do that in preparation of, you know, spring rains, and that's important. You know, if we get a huge flood, that would be horrible. So right now, the water level is you know, basically normal, 659. It's kind of like what it is all year. Water temperature is cold. It's in the 30s, but it's in the upper 30s. Water clarity is still clear, and that's been a big part of the reason why so many people have been able to come here, have success. Well, I've been having good luck, and really we've been able to catch fish regardless. I mean, it's okay. It's 37 degrees, 38 degrees, 39 degrees, whatever. We're still catching fish. I mentioned that the lower third of the lake is doing the best. The Shawnee Bend area, the Gravois Arm area, the dam, all that is doing really good. The population of fish down there, it's a little different than the rest of the lake. We have a lot more black crappie, and those black crappie tend to stay shallower through the winter months. You know, they could go down 25 feet of water if they wanted to. They generally don't. They're about 8 feet of water. They're about, you can see them with with the technology we have nowadays with the fish finders. You can see where they're setting up. And, you know, some days they'll be about 5 feet below the surface. Some days they're 8 feet below the surface. And then they'll come up, you know, to feed out of their school. And so if you get your jig in 5-6 feet of water, you're good. It's not like you got to let it sink down all that far. Now, if you're going to be fishing in the, like, say, Hurricane Deck area, Lynn Creek area, there's a lot more white crappie there, and they're a lot more comfortable in deeper water. So Kind of depends on what species you're going to be catching or what part of the lake you're in. They both taste great. You know, I just ate some crappie today for lunch. It was delicious. I was eating white crappie today. They taste just like black. So, and you know, so they're a little deeper. The white crappie tend to winter a little bit deeper. Brush piles are a lot more important to white crappies than black crappie for whatever reason. They're a little bit more homebodies. So if you find a brush pile that is consistent for you, you've probably got a good spot for quite a few months and years, really. It's going to be consistent, much more consistent for you. Versus the blacks, they just love to roam around. You know, they're a lot more skittish, and they tend to be a little bit more. The weather can affect them a little bit more. Since they're just roaming around, they're not holding on any dock or any brush pile or anything like that. If you idle over top of them too many times, you know, like this past weekend, we had a lot of people idling, side scanning to find them. Well, it kind of hurt the fishing because they were spooking them. You know, those fish are only so many feet below the surface, and you're going over top of them with your electronic or with your boat. It spooks them. So, you know, keep that in mind. Try to use your side scanning stuff to a minimum. You know, get into an area, see that there's some fish in the area. Don't do any more idling. You don't need to idle the whole cove. Because what happens is you idle too much, you end up running over top of 5 or 6 schools of them. You're just spooking them. So, you know, find an area, a cove that's got some life in it. Throw down your trolling motor and start picking them apart from that thing, because you won't spook nearly as many of them. Yeah, so I've been fishing a little bit everywhere. It's been good, you know. I mean, yesterday morning was a little on the tough side. We found several schools of them. We picked, you know, 2 or 3 off of one school, you know, 2 or 3 off another school, and they'd kind of like just turn off. It was weird. They were being skittish. Well, a few hours goes by. We go to a slightly different part of the lake, and we actually, what we did was picked up our bass rods, caught a couple of big bass, and gave the crappie a little bit of time to warm up, and the crappie just turned on. I mean, the crappie were just doing great at that point. You know, we finished up our limits, and they were nice big black crappie. We ended up catching them on the bank. You know, it was a slam dunk. It's kind of what you're really coming here for. So I caught, this is just, you know, just a bobber rig. A lot of people call it corking. It's just a bobber. I've got it on a little bit bigger rod. Okay, guys, I've got it on a 6'6" light action bass rod. All right. I've got on, you know, 6-pound test, monofilament. It casts better than some of my other bass rods that have got braid on them, and then the leaders. And so that's my setup for when I'm corking them. If I'm just going to be casting at them with a small jig, you know, I've just got 4-pound test on this, a little bit softer rod. This is more of a true crappie rod here. And, you know, this is Berkeley XT line, monofilament, 4-pound test, great line. It is fresh. You do want to have some fresh line on. If your line's been on there for too long, you know, it'll just have some memory to it, and it won't work as good. So, you know, pay attention to your fishing line, because these bites are pretty light. You know, some people don't feel them. And it's amazing sometimes if I just feel anything, I just set the hook, you know. And they're not hammering it most of the time. You know, some days they'll hammer it, and most of the times they're just a little soft something, and you rip them right back, and you're doing better. Sometimes they are a little bit deeper too, guys. It seems like the deeper fish, like the white crappies in the middle part of the lake, they're a little bit more comfortable, we'll call it. They're a little bit more secure, and so when they feed, they will thump it a little bit harder. I do use a little bit heavier jig head then. This is a 3/32 ounce jig head here. That's been a good one. You could go up to an 1/8 ounce. That would be a situation for that. Or you could do 2 on a line too. Sometimes that gets hung up twice as fast. So a 3/32 is the main one I use when I'm going a little bit deeper. And that's been good too. I mean, once again, your electronics are very important for that. They can show you where the brush piles are, show you, how the fish are reacting to your jigs, all that kind of stuff. So crappie are doing great. Come down. I've got plenty of availability, at least until during the week is a lot easier. Weekends are a little bit busier. And I will be watching the Chiefs game, so don't call me during the Chiefs game. But, generally speaking, February is a slow month for us. We don't have a lot of visitors to the lake in February, so it's a great time to go fishing. And with this weather, we've got some really nice weather. So I want to talk a little bit about bass fishing right now. Just won a tournament on Saturday. We were throwing jerk baits over brush piles, 10 to 20 feet of water, kind of normal stuff for February. We were using forward-facing sonar. That's the name of the game nowadays. Like it or not, it's a big deal. We were fishing them very, very slowly. Pretty boring. But we were catching, when we would catch a fish, it was the right fish. That was a tournament that we were not allowed to throw an A-rig in. A-rigs are pretty big. Those Tackle HD swimmers right now, man, they're killing it. It just makes it easy. You slow roll an A-rig out there and, 15 to 20 feet of water, and you don't have to be great at anything. You just throw it out there and they'll bite it. So that's about it for me, guys. My phone number is 573-434-2570. If you want to check me out on the web, it's fishinglakeoftheozarks.com. And that's it. Tight lines. Good luck.
Tackle HD Lure Kits. 100% made in Missouri. Available now at TackleHD.com.